Dear Christian, there is a difference between being afraid, being fearful, being shook, or being disturbed and upset. Now, just because we don't live in fear doesn't mean we're not upset about the things happening in the world. And to say, oh, I know what's happening in the world, and it doesn't bother me. I know what the Lord says. Yeah, we all know what the Lord says. But we know too that even God has been hurt and grieved by his own people, even, and that God gets upset about the things in the world. Those people who have been martyring and killing prophets, who killed Jesus and who are killing his people right now, are doing so with a political platform attached to their religion. Okay? So to say that we are not affected by politics, we are affected by politics, and it does matter how we vote. I didn't vote in the last election because I felt like God was leading me not to. Um, and that's between me and the Lord. That's not what I'm here to discuss. But to say that we're not shook by the things in the world and that we don't need to know what's going on and stick our heads in the sand is, I don't think that's necessarily true. Do we need to know everything? No. And do we need to spend all our time on the news and social media? Absolutely not. And I think I've spent too much time, especially yesterday, on social media. Uh, and I've repented of that, and I'm asking the Lord to that I would do better in that regard. It's not really something that controls my life, but I did spend a little bit too much time yesterday. But the reason I'm here is I do see Christians just kind of want to dance through the tulips, while the world is burning around them. And let me tell you something. When chaos and mayhem hits your neighborhood and hits your life, you will be disturbed. Jesus Christ was disturbed. He was in the Garden of Gethsemane. He was so grieved to the point of shedding blood. Um, and so, yes, he was very grieved. He was very disturbed about the things he saw. Jesus wept, and Jesus is God. God in the Old Testament was grieved, and he was very much involved with the nations and what they're doing. And the Bible tells us that God will judge the nations, and it's up to us to speak up for the poor and the oppressed. Will it change things? Maybe not, but it might change some things. But the most important thing is to be obedient to the Lord and not to pretend that when the world's burning down and people are suffering that we're not affected. How callous is that? So, yes, we are disturbed. God gets upset. There's something called the wrath of God. In the Old Testament, I read verses where God says that Israel hurt him, they grieved him, and that he's jealous for them. And he gives all kinds of instructions on how to treat other people, especially the foreigner and the stranger in the land, and especially your brothers and your sisters. God gives instructions all through the Bible and all through the Old Testament, and Jesus in the New. And Jesus is God, but he gives instruction on how to treat one another. And so God cares, and we should care. And yes, we'll be disturbed. The joy of the Lord isn't a giddy place of being unaffected. No, we have joy amidst the sorrows. The joy of the Lord goes deeper than happiness. It goes to peace and to assurance. And Jesus went to the cross for the joy set before him because he knew what this obedience was going to produce. Even though in the Garden of Gethsemane it was so treacherous and he knew it was going to be so horrible going to the cross. And he said, Father, if possible, take this cup from me, but not my will, but thine be done. Do we think that when we take up our cross to follow Jesus, we're not going to have a cup? We're going to have a Garden of Gethsemane moment, and it's going to be painful. And God will be with us through it all. But listen, everybody who has been a prophet has been disturbed by what was going on, even, I'm going to say, politically, because the religious people were involved politically, and they were the ones oftentimes murdering their own. And even of course, then the governments do genocides and things like that too that aren't religious. But we are affected by these things. And we are involved whether we like it or not, because the mayhem may come to your doorstep. It may come to your town. It may come into your life personally, and you may be affected personally in very painful ways. So we don't just say, I know what's going on. God's got it covered. Of course he does. There's judgment coming, and we are to warn people. And God always warns people. He always warns us. He's warned us through the whole Bible about what's coming, and about the judgment to come, and about our part, and about what we should do. And that is one of the things that we should do, is to speak up. Speak up. Yes, we tell the gospel of Jesus Christ, because there's the solution for the individual life. But this world is coming to an end. And for those who want to usher in the day of the Lord, the day when Jesus Christ returns, have we not read in the Bible it's going to be a dark day? People are going to be mourning and wailing and asking for the mountains to cover them up and to fall on them? No. Yes, Jesus says that when we get to our home, our eternal home, every tear will be wiped from our eyes. There are going to be tears. There are tears now. And so we live in a fallen world. The Bible tells us that before the end, before the Lord comes, that the power of the saints will be shattered, that the evil one will be given the power to overcome the saints. This will happen before Jesus returns. Jesus did promise us tribulation. And so, are we afraid? I'm not afraid. Are we disturbed? Well, we better be. We should be. We should be praying and helping one another and speaking up for one another and lifting one another up in prayer, not because we're afraid, but yes, the things that are going on, they're disturbing. They've been disturbing since the fall of man and Cain murdered Abel. It's disturbing. It's painful. It's hurtful. But we don't have to be afraid. But we can't stick our head in the sand as long as our life is good and say, oh, it's all good. God's got it under control. Yeah. Read the Bible. Believe it. Believe what the Lord says. Follow him. Take up your cross. Drink the cup. Follow Jesus Christ for the joy set before you. I love you, and I'm praying for us all.